Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of the Youth Cafe podcast where we empower, connect and amplify the voices of the youth. My good name is Shali Juneli and today we are going to speak about stewardship in a changing climate. Today you're going to hear verses and scripts from the Bible. You better be ready. For example, in Genesis chapter 2 verse around 15 thereabout, God put up Adam in the Garden of Eden and told him to tend and take care of it. So after that, what did Adam do? We're going to find out in this session. So with me here today is a phenomenal lady, and I'm not going to introduce her because she wears so many hats. I'm going to do some injustice if I introduce her, so I'll let her introduce herself. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Should I call you Shali or Jameli? Which one do you prefer?
Jameli.
Jameli. Oh, better. My name is Gitau. In full, it's Teresia Gitau. I'm the communications officer for CYNESA Kenya. That is the Catholic Youth Network for Environmental Sustainability in Africa. And I also serve as the global co-facilitator for the women's major group at UNEP. And just to mention, before we even begin, I will try as much as possible not to even put any Bible quotes, not about anything of that, just to see how we are going to have the nexus between faith and environment, because I know, especially when you're talking about faith or even religion, we tend to push people away. So I will try as much as possible to just blend the two and leave the Bible and the quotes out.
Yes. Oh, amazing. Artists in the room. Hello. Yeah.
What does that mean? Oh no.
It means they are safe because now you won't kill them with Bible verses and they can't relate.
Yes, all of us, we are welcome. We are leaving no one behind.
Yeah. Yes. So we are going to try and talk about faith, community and climate action. Mm-hmm. And Tess, I'd like to know, how does faith inform your understanding of climate action?
So faith, for me, what it does, especially just throughout my journey, because I would say I was lucky enough to do environmental studies in campus. So it was not that much of a trajectory because I was just following what I was doing, despite the fact that I had detours. So faith, it rather reframes what we normally understand in environment. So for me, basically, and bottom line is, I tend to look at the environment from a place of care. The way you would care for your house, the way you would care for your neighbor, because once you're caring for someone, you take responsibility. So it means that even when I go to my house, I'm not going to just put socks and then from there I'll just put a plate of food there, and then from there now I'll just put everything messy, because at the end of the day, it will not sit right with you. But it is your responsibility, even mentally, to make sure that everything is in its place and I am caring for my house, for my own well-being. So also when you extrapolate that to the environment, when I have my environment just around me being clean, then it means that the place where I'm coming into, it's refreshing. And it's a place where I can just sit and calm my mind. Because all of us, anywhere, wherever you are, you can tell when you walk through a place, or rather a street that is dirty versus a street that is clean and it has, trees around you, you tend to feel, there's a way you just feel relaxed. Even if life is difficult, it helps you to relax a little bit and also enjoy nature. So it means that if that is the part that you enjoy the most and it makes you feel alive, then when you go through a street maybe that is a bit polluted, it means that you need to do something. We need to do something. And it's not, I don't want it to come from a place that this is mandatory, no. Let it come from a place of, I am caring for this, because it is my responsibility. So that's what I can say, yeah.
Amazing, because while growing up, I hear people saying cleanliness is next to godliness, mm-hmm. And absolutely, that's so true from whatever you've said. Again, as I was going through your CYNESA's website, I realized that you guys work around education and climate, mm-hmm. And you're planning to even draft a toolkit or something on environment. Could you maybe speak on that?
So what we have been doing, especially for the past 5 years, when it comes to education, rather, we call it formation. Because when you say education, we know education has a limit. Whenever we talk about fellowship, we know that fellowship comes to an end. But when you talk about formation, formation is something that will never end in your entire lifetime. So in CYNESA, what we have been doing is having formations. So number one, once we onboard like cohorts, cohort 1, 2, 3, and 4, the first thing would be we take them through the basics of just understanding the nexus between faith and environment. And most of our work is based on Laudato Si. So that is the encyclical that was written by Pope Francis. And one, it's followed by most Catholics and also the Anglican Church, and it's not limited to us. When the encyclical was written, it was written for the entire, all of us to sit and to read it and also to follow what is happening. Because when you look at it when you just even read it, yes, the inferences that are there, it mainly focuses on the nexus between faith and science, or rather, what we are doing when it comes to psychology. Because just to give you an example, and I'll not give a reference exactly, it's more of whatever we do on our inside is what we show on the outside. So I'm trying to get that reference whenever we say you cannot give what you don't have. So many a times, if at all within our hearts, we are talking about extracting resources, right? We are doing it. Why are we doing it? Is it because of the fear of uncertainty, or is it because there is also the element of greed? You'll find that in one sector, someone is very greedy, right? So you're taking, you're consuming. The question is, what is your enough? So when you take, let's say, this similar person, put them in a place of power, when it comes to extracting resources, you'll continue extracting, not considering the impact that is having on their neighbors. Because for you, what are you focused on? On them, on how these or how these resources are just going to benefit you as you. So when it comes to our formation, we tend to go back. We look at faith, and also we look at science, trying to see where can we base, where can we have a balance. Because at the end of the day, everything in life is a balance. And also to put in another element, something that we are working towards, is having to look at the Al-Mizan. The Al-Mizan is a book that was written by the Muslim community with professors from all over the world. And Al-Mizan means the balance. So what is the balance between the two of us? So going back still to the Laudato Si, it's something that, yes, it is a base of our formation, and as we go forward, it is something that we always go back to. So there's formation session 1, formation the second one, formation the third one. So as we journey with you, you get to understand why we are doing this and not this. And also, we don't sit down and tell you, because you're doing this, you're wrong. No. Because at the end of the day, the worst way or rather, not even the best or the worst, how do I put it? If you bash someone, they will never change their ways. But if you embrace them from where they are at, you find that with time, they get to change. The journey might take 10, 11, 12, even 2 years.
Forever.
Yes. But you'll find that in that journey, there were changes. And how do those changes look like? It is progressive towards something. So it's accepting someone and journeying with them through these formation sessions and making sure that at the end of the day, they are becoming a better person than they were yesterday.
Oh, amazing. As you're speaking about behavioral change, Kaizen came to my mind, and that is continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tess, you've mentioned something on formations, and I'm just curious. I want to know, do you onboard Catholics only? Is there a specific age, or how's the selection criteria?
So when it comes to the selection criteria, we accept all faiths. We've had our Muslim brothers and sisters on board. Also in our team, we have non-Catholics. So it is not open to the Catholic Church only, it is open to every one of us. Because as you've mentioned, I mentioned earlier rather, we are also having the Al-Mizan, right? To sit and to understand what exactly is this? Where are we, where are we coming together? No. Like, where is our area of of merging. Like, I'm trying to look for the right word for it. Like, it has disappeared. And you know those moments when you, oh my God, and then you remember, like, I should have said it. But no worries. So we are common interest, like our areas of common interest. Where do we push? Because as we look at the faith communities globally, we tend to work together. The Brahma Kumaris, the Muslim community, who else? The Catholic Church, So we have to make sure that we are bringing all of us on board, because once you have the knowledge, there's no problem with having knowledge. You can have the knowledge. We don't have to convince you right now, but as you go in different places, it's different faiths completely, right? But we have common interest and our goal is still the same. So you'll find that it's just a repetition of what we are saying, and you're speaking in just one language. So our work is to make sure that we are bringing all the faiths, number one, and then number two, youths below the age of 35. So that's where we are a bit.
How about youth at heart? I could be 38, but I'm a youth at heart.
We shall sit down and talk about it, and then we shall come back on that one. Yes, because now our focus mostly is of the youths in Africa. Yes, but youths at heart, we'll keep that in mind for sure. Yes.
Amazing. So now that you work with communities, I'd like to know the kind of actions you've taken towards combating climate change, aside from the education and all that.
So, now we'll have to go through this. Do we have time? But let me see. So we are looking, let's see. So the first one I'd like to talk about, so here in Kenya, we've done, there's a project that we handed over to Caritas Muranga. Initially, through our donors, we had started on, we were given by the Diocese of Muranga a demonstration plot, just a plot of land, where we showed the community. We were with them learning, because our style of doing things, especially when it comes to tackling climate change, we know that the communities where we are going to, they have the solutions. In many a times, we don't even do capacity building, we do capacity sharing, because these people have the knowledge of what is happening in their own regions. So our work is to come and see how can we enable them to do their works better. So with that, in Muranga, we had a demonstration plot where we were doing kitchen gardening. We were even having discussions amongst the communities, which crops do well, which ones don't do well in this particular area, which is Muranga. And we had that project for about 3 years, and we were handing it over, I think it was in 2024, to Caritas Muranga, who had bigger plans because they had seen it, and they have taken it up to make to ensure that the production is better. And as we understand, as of today, they have plans of exporting, because once we started, of course it's donor funded, so we could do what we could. But with Caritas Muranga now, they've expanded it and they're taking it to greater heights. When it comes to CYNESA Cameroon, they were doing amazing work around plastics. They still do. There's also kitchen gardening in the same country, and also, so what they do, the lids of bottles, they've recycled it. Yes, they make a lot of amazing work. So once you go on Facebook,
plastic bottles,
the lids, vifuniko. Yes. So they do artwork with them, and also plastic. Yes, and then
pekele.
Yes. We call them pekeles, right? This is a soda, sorry. So the pekeles, they're the ones that they use to make art. Then when it comes to CYNESA Rwanda, now this one is where they've worked, and they actually work with the government, the government in Rwanda, the government of the day. So whenever they have events, festivals, CYNESA is always at the heart of these events. We make sure that whenever the government wants to have youth events, they are part of it. They are the organizers, they are the mobilizers, and they're doing amazing work. So that is CYNESA Rwanda. When it comes to CYNESA Ghana, also amazing work as well on their side, because also they work with the so how do I summarize it? The national conference, the national KCCB Kenya conference. So National Conference of Catholic Bishops. So where I have put national, you can put Kenya, Ghana, So for them, it's Ghana Conference of Catholic Bishops. They work with them to, especially with the Galamsey. Galamsey is the illegal gold mining that is happening in Ghana. So they are doing a lot of campaigns around there. What the toxic, hazardous waste. Also, whenever the waste, or rather, the toxic waste that comes from the Galamsey, the mining, that is the use of mercury. And many a times, I know now this boils to the environment, not even climate, but once we are using mercury to extract gold, and this is artisanal, jua kali. Yes. So you find that the women, especially whenever they're using mercury to, in the process of just trying to purify gold and to get it, they're inhaling the mercury vapor. So which means it's affecting them. So when it comes to capacity building on that side, they're doing quite a lot of work. The other bit is tree planting. Let me apologize. Tree growing. So in Kenya, we have at Karura Forest, we have like a dedicated corner for us where we have like tree growing activity, which this means we are planting trees, and then we have the guards at the Karura Forest taking care of it for the next 3 years. So what that does is we are making sure that the trees are being taken care of. The challenge that we are seeing, especially with planting trees, is we plant trees and we leave. They need water. The plants need water. They need to be taken care of, because as we see statistically, out of 10 trees, 2 can survive. So we need to make sure that if 2 are surviving currently, then we need to make sure that there is more that are surviving. So we need to shift from tree planting to more tree growing. And growing involves having people taking care of the trees when we are not there.
Yes. You mentioned Caritas. What is Caritas? Is it?
So, Caritas Bank, Caritas, it's the social, let me put it simply, I hope I'll not butcher this. It's the social arm of the Catholic Church. So it does social work, right? So when it comes to the bank itself, it's a banking, like Caritas Bank, it's a banking industry across Africa. When it comes to dealing with matters climate change, you find that Caritas, they are there. With also education, so everything social that is affecting us, the Caritas arm of the social side of the church, which is the Caritas, they work on it. Yes. But thank you for that question.
Yes, you mentioned something on the Caritas Moranga and the way they continue with the project. Now you mentioned that it was donor funded, right?
And our project,
yeah,
said, yes,
it was donor funded. So I'd like to know, how do you work around sustainability for donor funded projects? Because now many organizations struggle with that, honestly, because you start projects and then now you don't have money, and then the project just dies.
We are having similar challenges, but what we are trying to do is just getting to work with more donors. We just don't rely on one, so we try as much as possible to have more than one, or rather even try to pool together, so that as we are working and getting to see our work go forward, then we're having like income, not rather income, but money for a specific project. So the way we've not escaped it. It's something that we are working towards, and hopefully we'll get over it very soon. But we try as much as possible. If we know this is the project, we keep trying each and every time to work on that. And we have an amazing programs manager who's always on toes. He's surviving. He does an amazing job. So kudos to him. Yes.
Yeah. So now that you work with communities a lot, what are the challenges that you people experience, especially in the climate space?
Challenge, like the challenge that us as CYNESA, or
as you, the communities you work with? Yeah.
Oh, the communities that we work with, same as ours. Money. Who does not have problems with money? I would.
In history, the way we would say inadequacy of capital, it was such a strong point.
I know, because whenever we want to, or rather this community, we work with them to try to implement some of these projects that we have and also they have in mind, the challenge becomes money. And as we try to, we are trying, and that's why I'm saying, like, I wish we could have like a solution. If only money could just grow on trees.
Manna from heaven.
I know, right? But
God of finances.
we need to, yes, he needs to locate us. So that's the biggest challenge. Everywhere you go, that is the biggest challenge. But one thing that we are learning, and also we try to encourage our community, is to start where they are, because at times scaling might be an issue, but once you start it small scale, we tend to innovate. You know, the way you can just something just very ingenious with what you have. So the solutions that we have found is, don't worry about what is it, expanding it too fast. Let's start slow. Maybe we shall learn. There are some lessons that we need to learn in the process, and then once it gets to a time that we need to expand the project, then that money will always, like, is it locate us? Yes, we will get the money that we need, but at the community level, across all the CYNESA chapters, whenever we're doing our implementation in the community, finances are normally the biggest challenge.
Wow. So aside from financing, could there be any other challenges? For example, maybe farmers need to get tree, what are they called, seedlings?
Seedlings.
Yeah, and maybe they struggle to find them or something like that. And
No,
scarcity of water.
Or probably maybe contaminate when it comes to, so now when we look at CYNESA Ghana, then we could talk about contamination of water. Because with Galamsey there is mercury, of course, and then whenever there are minings, you have to go and, how do we say, like, I am trying, like, you filter, yes, in water. So already that water is contaminated. So how I think that would be the challenge, that especially that in that area that they get to face. When it comes to, I'm trying to think about here in Kenya. In Kenya, no, because when it comes to tree seedlings, you can apply and get them for free from Carefree, yes. And also, when you look at some of the banks in Kenya, you can go and apply and tell them these are they normally have a form. And I don't want to mention, but I can let you know off camera, and then if you want to put it in the description, then that's okay.
Absolutely.
There are banks, you fill out a form, and then you even mention the quantity of tree seedlings that you want. If they have it in stock, they will give it to you. You don't have to pay anything.
Oh, really? And will they follow up to know if you planted them, if you watered them, if they...
For us, where we get them,
or
do
you
they
know
follow?
people who know people?
No, it's not about knowing people who know people. At times, do they follow up? Now that one I'll need to find out. Because for us, on our side, we make sure that we are following up, especially on the tree growing aspect. And also to mention before I forget, not everywhere you'll get those tree seedlings for free. There are some that you'll pay just a subsidized amount. And also, when it comes to, when it comes to those who are doing like personal projects, the ones who are growing, yeah, they are also there. Like, we have very many people who are offering tree seedlings, but I know there are some institutions that offer for free. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And do CYNESA work around waste management?
No, we do capacity building around it, but we don't actively engage in working around waste.
Oh, because in Nairobi, it's bad. I think you should consider venturing into that as CYNESA.
Probably, I think that's something that we can think about. But so far, what we do is capacity building, especially on talking about toxic waste substances, and also looking at the advocacy side of it, because we have the Bamako Convention, which is a convention that brought, the African member states. It was a response. So yes, we how do I say this? A response of African member states coming together to work around a framework on how we can dispose hazardous waste within the continent of Africa, and also the waste that are coming into the continent, how do you regulate it? So our work now revolves around creating awareness around it. And if we go to areas where people know much about it, then we do the capacity sharing and getting to understand how does it affect the community. Yes.
Maybe the first step would be segregation, because once you've segregated in the household, and then now we can know where they can dispose the hazardous waste.
Yes, so when it comes to now the household waste, yes. So the focus of this one was on the hazardous, the ones that you're talking
From
about.
industries.
Yes,
Okay.
the ones that you, when you get close, something you just see there's something wrong with this. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now we are all aware that climate change affects different groups differently.
Yeah.
So how are you guys involving the most vulnerable people in the community?
So we're talking about here women, children, and the marginalized, right? So when I look at that, whenever we're having, like, let's say in our capacity building, capacity sharing, whenever we're doing that, we have the Laudato Si Youth Assembly. We hold it each and every year in different countries across Africa. So what we normally do is, whenever we're doing our campaigns to tell people about it, we tend to focus more on women. And just to mention, it's not that men are not important, no. It's because in the context of Africa...
Defend yourself.
No, it's not... Let me bring you home. In our context, in Africa, in our culture, let's say we've grown up in town, right? In the city. Okay, no. Now, let me ask you, whenever you want to tell your mom that you're going for an event, that there's this big event and all that, what is the process that you go through to convince your mom versus your brother? How does it look like?
Mom would be quite hard, but for brother, of course, they understand.
They would understand, and it's not going to be that difficult for them. And there are very many questions. And remember, we've grown up in the city. So when it goes to the marginalized community where there is strong culture, where, how do you say it? It is deep-rooted. By the time a lady is released to attend such a conference, to even get the knowledge about it, it would take time. And you'd find that even for us, whenever we go to this whenever we have these events, men are normally higher whenever they are applying the registration. The ladies are a bit fewer. A bit fewer, that's not English, they are few. So we have to push as much as possible to make sure that we are having women in these capacity building sessions, so that they can just hear, even if it's just once, because you never know the seed that you're planting in this individual lady, the work that she's going to do in the next 5 to 10 years. So we have to fight, and not to fight, but rather we have to strategize specifically to target them, to, number one, apply in large numbers, number two, to be there. And also the other bit would be, also when it comes to their faith, and this helps a lot, is that through the church now, they even tend to believe in us even more. Because when you go through your pastor, when you go through your priests, right, and they say these young people are coming and they're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, allow your children to come. And I know right now we're living in an era where when it comes to trusting, even the faith leaders, it becomes a bit tricky. But when it comes to the Catholic Church, what I can tell you is the structures that are in place, it's quite rigorous, because it comes from the bishop, and then it has to go through the specific steps before it gets to your local church. So by the time it's getting to your local church, already the bishop and the entire team, rather let's call them that for just understanding, they will be in the know. And they will send their representative to come and just to participate, but also to see how are you doing these things. Are you being trusted? So you find that with all those checks and balances, parents, they tend to even trust, because they know, number one, their daughters are going to be okay, their young children are going to gain something of substance, and then the other bit, we try as much as possible to go to marginalized areas. Like the first Laudato Si Youth Assembly we did, it was in Arusha, and it was rural Arusha, not, the city center. So we were trying to specifically target the young people from these regions. Yeah.
What is Laudato for?
Laudato Si Youth Assembly. So it is an annual conference that we host, we organize, and the aim of this conference is to, it's like to introduce Laudato Si to young people, and also to talk to them about the nexus between faith and environment. And when we talk about them during this period, and we talk to them about the UNFCCC, the UN climate change process, the UNEP process, the Minamata Convention process, all these scopes that are there, and the processes, the environmental processes that are there, so that they understand where can you tap into, because your problem is not my problem, not in a bad way, but what affects you is very specific to you. So we tell them this is what we have, and this is how you can start from where you are at. Yes, and then now at the end of it all, we come up with a statement on what we would want the church to help us with, rather the faith, because one thing we know is the Catholic Church is a church and a state. So at UNEP, the Catholic Church has a seat, like the Holy See. It's called the Holy See. When it comes to the UN climate change, it has ceded to party. So it means that they have the Holy See has voting rights. It means that us as the faith-based institutions, if we see something in the negotiations going wrong, we are like, hey, hi, we are here.
It's us again.
Yes, it's us again. Please negotiate for us on this aspect. So, and also remember, we will go through our own country. Like for me, I will go to Kenya, right? The delegation that is there, and you'll be like, guys, look, if it goes like this, you need to mention ABCD. And then also it gives us another platform. We go now to the church, to now the Holy See delegation, and tell them, hey, please check 1, 2, 3, please negotiate this on our behalf, and make sure that our voices are being heard. So we have like two. You have your country, we have all of these others, but also we have the church to help us. Yeah.
Wow. So in the spirit of collaboration, how can faith-based and, should I call them secular, organizations collaborate to ensure there is effective climate resilience?
We work together a lot. And especially when it comes to the advocacy space, policy making, not the implementation bit, because I've been biased more to be in the policy making process. Implementation not that much. So we collaborate, because one thing we know is that yes, as much as possible, as much as we're in the faith-based institutions, people have different expertise, right? The science community, faith and science, they tend to marry very well. It's only that we tend to say they're not divergent. They explain one another. So we work together to make sure that all our voices are heard. Because at the end of the day, what drives us, and who are these people who are at the policy making table? They're human beings, right? So if you can sit down and approach them from a human angle, then at least you are able to sit and understand one another. Because the way we're just talking, it's the same way. From the scientific professor and all that, we sit, we talk, and then you're like, so this is our common interest. Let us push this. If I don't understand you, you have the time to explain to me. If it's vice versa, we still do the same thing, because climate is universal, and we tend to say climate is Catholic. Catholic means also universal. It does not discriminate. How it's going to affect you, it's going to affect me, right? So if not today, then tomorrow. And let me recant that. When it comes to affecting us the same way, well, our symptoms are going to be different. It's not going to be that exact same way, but what I know for sure is that it is going to affect us. If not today, then definitely it's going to get to you tomorrow.
True. So you're saying it's a safe space?
It is.
We can open up
as
much as we can.
You see the way we are here, and I'm pouring everything pour everything, because if we don't understand, then how do we proceed? Because life is not black and white, it's very nuanced. So the goal is to find that nuances and finding ways of how do we merge with this. That's how, for us as we work, we've found ways to work with the Brahma Kumaris community, the Islamic community. What are these commonalities that we are sharing and traditions, where are they? So that at least as we are marching forward, we're like, this is our one message. Yes, we might have our own differences, but we're not so different. All of us, we're very similar. More than we care to admit, we're so similar. So what are these similarities, and how can we magnify them to make sure that we are taking care of the planet? So that's the question.
Amazing. You've spoken on frameworks, and I'm just curious to know, how do you work around policies on environment? Do you have like representatives who?
Or like in CYNESA?
Yeah.
Like within the institution first, because many a times whenever we get into the space, the environment space, it is complicated. It is like there's a lot. There's so very many things that you would want to follow, and then also yes, as CYNESA we are accredited to very many various UN agencies, but at times it becomes a bit difficult to follow them because number one, resources. That's one of the concerns. But the other bit is also we try first to start what are the low-lying fruits, hanging fruits. First is UNEP. So for the young people who are coming, let's start. Do you understand the process? No. Then we can start from there. And as you navigate, because UNEA, that is the UN Environment Assembly, just to clarify, it's the highest decision-making body on environment. So it's like the mother of environment's decisions, right? Once it's domiciled in Nairobi. So it means that as young people, you get to interact with very many topics as you attend the meetings at UNEP. So with that access, where is your interest? So from there, then we try as much as possible to make sure that you are engaging in what you're interested in. And then as time goes by, you just learn, because we can help you to reach a certain extent. And then the others, once you've reached here, the people who will always come and help you to just scale to the next level, which is a good thing, you know. So once you decide to come back and help, then that's well and good. If not, we give you our blessings and we tell you, hey, we can see you in the US. No. In the US, here and here, it's an amazing thing. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, and just to clarify, it's a voluntary organization as we work. So saying yes. So we volunteer. So as much, if an opportunity comes and you're able to take it, we encourage you as much as possible, because it means this is where you grew. So you are not obligated to come back and help, but if you want to come back and help, because it's a matter of just coming and handing over the baton to the next generation, ensuring that you're having intergenerational dialogue, intergenerational growth. So it's not just stuck with one generation. Yeah.
So let's say, for example, there's a CBO in some community, in, let's say, for example, Turkana, or I'm not saying Turkana, but okay, marginalized, right? Marginalized community. So like, let's say they want to push for a certain policy, can they come to you? Then you kind of help them structure
internally, or maybe exposure to the platform.
There's exposure to the platform, and then again there's structuring.
So yes, so one, when it comes to exposure, so now for internally, you want to have access to UNEP to understand the process. We try as much as possible, though we also have our own young people who want to have access. So this is where David and I, we come along, because from my role as the global co-chair for the Women's Major Group, I can sit and talk to the women organizations and tell them, hey, there's this institution, they would want to understand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And before even that, they need to sign forms to, number one, to know that once you get into UNEP, there are rules and procedures to be adhered to. There's training that they need to sit and understand, because in the diplomatic space, it's very delicate, and you need to maintain that delicate balance. So we try as much as possible, to, one, train them, two, to ensure that, train for them to understand the process just a little bit, and then also what to do and what not to do. And they get access to the process to understand what happens, and they can also channel their ideas through the children and youth, if that is the youth. If it's women's major group, they also have access to channel their own ideas, so that they can be heard. and it can be reflected. So that would be the first one. The other bit would be, so you've said it's a youth entity, right?
Yeah.
Going to the children and youth major group website and getting to understand what is being discussed, and also subscribing to their mailing list. They have very many opportunities. They have very many updates on what is happening globally. So you'd find when it comes to policy making, there's an email that normally comes out. Whatever is happening in different continents, they're also being shared. So yes, also for the women, they can also, so our website is coming up probably once this goes out, if it's going to be end of February, then we have like a place where you can go to the women's major group website, and then you can ask all of these questions. So having access to the decision making platform, yes, that one you can have. Secondly, when it comes to internally, it can be a bit tricky considering there's politics within an organization, but when it comes to letting them know, you've mentioned a CBO. So they would need to be an NGO. If at all they would want to be accredited to UNEP, that's an entire process. But if at all they would want to structure within themselves to have access, it would be more of they get to do the grasswork that they do, document it, and then bring the solutions that they have to the table. Yes, through the channels that I've mentioned.
Nice. So you mentioned training. Is there mentorship, like, or you are trained and then you just release,
go ye to the world
and spread the word?
So no, when it comes to the training, what I can say in the space is it's the training that you're talking about is more of what to do and what not to do. Because remember, as I have mentioned, it's a diplomatic space. You can't just go to the CPR meeting and then you request for the floor and then say, like in Trucana, you understand, there's someone from Venezuela and Vanuatu. They don't even know what's Trucana. So you see, the ideas when it comes to the decision-making table, they need to be one general, two not that specific, but it needs to be global so that it can cover everyone. So when it comes to the rules and procedures, then they need to understand that, because I can tell you multilateralism, and that we're talking about also the UNEP process, the decision making, it is slow. It can be annoying. It can be frustrating. And we need to just understand, why is it frustrating? Where can we tap in and then see how do you even get over the frustration? Because the solution is not to go away. It's to stick. It is to stick to the process. So because the solution becomes sticking through the process to change from within, then they need to understand how do you stick it out. Because I can tell you, for the short time that I've been in the UNEP space, people have come, people have left, and they have left out of frustration. But just getting to see, you don't need to live out of frustration. You can still do the work that you're doing, but still understand that it takes a long time. Because whenever we have like our family of 20 here, all of us, we have our own cultures, our own mindset. Imagine agreeing to just one thing, and we need to understand that my decision is sovereign. You cannot push me here and there. So it becomes a very slow process and frustrating. But understanding that means that, yes, even if I am just going to move one step, not two, just one, or maybe even half.
Baby step.
Yes, we need to count that as progress. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So now, I'm just wondering, how do you measure success in this climate space? This is the number of trees you planted, the number of people you trained. Because we've been speaking of climate change since time immemorial.
Oh,
and how do we measure? Like, where are we? Where did we start from? Where are we headed to?
So when I look at it from, let's say from right now, when it comes to, so let me get a specific instance. Let me talk about the CPR that happened last year. The CPR is the Committee of Permanent Representatives. In short, the meetings that happened at UNEP. Let's call it like that for us to understand, right? There was the medium-term strategy that we were working on the entire of 2025 at UNEP. And you could see there were the terms gender segregated data was not in the document. So just writing a statement and not requesting, but telling the member states that we would want to have gender desegregated data, sex desegregated data to be in the strategy. Why? Because now it mandates UNEP to work on matters that are very specific to gender, to collect data that is related to that is related to gender and to sex. So it's something that just putting that word in a document where you've been given, like you're told, do not exceed this number of words. You know it's tight on all corners, but it was not there initially, but at the end of the day it has been included. That is a plus. That's progress. That's why I was saying, even if it's half, we've moved an inch. I know it is very small, but celebrating those, and it has also taught me in my life to take those small wins, because at times it can be frustrating.
You woke up, you spread your bed.
Yeah. That is, I need to clap for myself, because there's someone who's not able to do that. Either they are not well physically or even mentally. So for me, that is a plus, and it gives you like, what more can I look for to make sure that I am adding those small pebbles of gratitude. So it's the same thing, even when it comes to the UN climate change. I remember it was in 2022 at COP, and we were so frustrated. I didn't attend COP 30, but all the COPs that I've attended, whenever you listen to the negotiations, you're just like, it's hard brackets, it's soft brackets. The negotiations went like this, and then people come out and they're like, yeah, but there is, and you're like, that is success, and I can tell you, it's not satisfactory, and it is so annoying. But once you just look at it, just going slowly by slowly, it is something. It's just giving you hope. And I'm not sitting here to say that yes, no, we should be applauding. Now it means that is enough. No, hey, my friend, you can tell this somehow. No, it's not even we've started. The climate is just warming up faster. So there is need to, like, let's hurry, but also remembering everyone has their own priorities. Everyone has their own uncertainties. Everyone is feeling like it's power. People are losing. When you tell people to move from fossil fuel to green energy, you're asking them lose your own power. So there's that element of uncertainty. So what do we do? So do we become now beggars? Do we, So there's that element, and also when you just understand how different nations, what they stand for, their beliefs, then it helps you not to be angry. Not for them, but it helps you not to be angry, and to be able to sit and to push and to stay in the process longer.
Yeah. And to also add on what you've said, I believe change starts with us. Like, what are you doing in your home? What are you consuming? What are you using? How are you disposing your waste and all that? So Tess, as you wind up, what would you tell a youth who wants to venture into the climate space?
I would tell them, wherever you are, start where you're at, because it is starting from where you're at that people will get to see you, to get to see the work that you're doing, and you'll be able to progress. The first thing that I tell, and especially when it comes to Kenyans who are here, the low-hanging fruit, there's the unit process here. Start from there. If go to the Children and Youth Major Group website and look at it. What can you learn from it? And then start. If at all you're not able to have access to the UNEP platform, are you able to gain access online? Start there. Learn the process. And then from there, opportunities will just come. So look at what is the low-hanging fruit, and we're talking about advocacy. When it comes to now the grassroots work, keep doing it and share it on social media platform. We don't share what we're doing enough. We need to sit and tell what you have. Do not think about, what will Tess think about, after 5 minutes I've just forgotten. You post your work, because there's someone else somewhere who is in need of your solution, and they're actively seeking your solution, so that one, they can fund it, two, they can also implement in their communities. So you never know, you might find collaborations that you may need, and it may lead to you getting money. So do not underestimate what you're doing, but also, do not underestimate what you're doing, and beware of the power of social media. And I mean beware from a point of, it is a good platform. that you can use. It is a good platform that can bring you very many blessings that you never thought about, and it can expand you in ways and give you meaningful connections that you had never dreamed before, and it can speak for you before you get into rooms that you always dream about. So that's what I can tell to our young people.
Wow.
And to myself as well.
You 19-year-old, 24-year-old, 26-year-old, don't wait to be ready. You will never be ready. You will just start where you are. So do you have a parting shot for the general population now?
Do it scared. I'm also doing it scared. Every time. I just need to push myself. The success of have I woken up, have I done this? That's just a small step. It has gotten me to where I am. So it is to just tell us, take those small steps. The progress that you're making, clap for yourself. But it doesn't mean that you settle there. Clap for yourself, but demand for more. Demand for more for yourself. Demand for more from the environment. Demand for more from our decision makers, and also demand for more in our own civil societies, because we have a lot of work that we need to do, and we have a lot of work, especially in sharing the experiences that we have with the public that are not in the environmental space. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. It just felt like you were speaking to me directly. If you want to talk to me directly. Don't go through the corners. So Tess, thank you so much for heeding to our call and coming here to share your very, very good and amazing insights.
Thank you.
Yeah. So until the next one.
Bye-bye.